Mr. Weisenbach, faculty, parents, friends, and members of the class of 2012. In the April edition of the school newspaper, some of you might remember this, there was a massive interview with Colleen and me on the second page. We answered a few pressing questions like, what is your definition of success? And do you believe that time travel is feasible? A couple of questions that we answered didn't make the final cut. So I'm going to share with you now one of my answers that wasn't ever published in the newspaper. The question is, what is your biggest fear? My answer, I fear that every single decision I make on a second-to-second basis could detract from my life as a whole. And as a result, I ultimately developed into less of a person than who I could be. I'm also afraid of spiders.
Yes.
But mostly, I fear that the millions of decisions I make during my life won't allow me to reach my full potential. And let's face it, class of 2012, as human beings, we have a lot of potential. God made us extraordinary. No offense to any monkeys or llamas out there listening to me right now, but human beings are special. Young adult novelist John Green expressed in one of his online videos that as human beings, we are all facing the same question. What are we going to do with our consciousness? This question, what are we going to do with our consciousness, hits us at a time of vast change in our lives. With our consciousness, we get to choose what we care about. We get to choose what we value in life. A great facet of the human mind is that no two people think exactly the same way. So what I value can be totally different from what you value. I remember the first day I ever played in band at Roncalli. We were rehearsing our Santana marching band music for the first time, and I was in my element, playing the xylophone, locked in with Miss Peach's baton, part of one cohesive group. I knew then, and I know now, that I value music. I also remember the first day we ever played football in PE. If anyone can remember having PE with me, please forget about it now. I could not throw, catch, kick, or run. A lot of people value sports because of their fire and intensity, and because of the way sports build community. And that's great, but personally, I try to stay as far away from sports as possible. My point is that I can value music, and you can value sports, and that's okay. In fact, that's brilliant. What we need to remember, though, is that even though we all have different values, there are common threads. Roncalli High School has prepared us extremely well for the rest of our lives by teaching us core values to live by. Roncalli has taught us how to love one another. We've learned how to love through serving others. We've learned to follow the loving example of our namesake, Pope John the 23rd. His traits, posted inside every classroom, have encouraged us to be welcoming, humble, and peaceful. Although our minds and our values are completely unique, love holds us all together. Mathematical and musical genius Tom Lehrer once said, I know that there are people out there who do not love their fellow man, and I hate people like that. Today, as we look ahead toward the future, and for the rest of our lives, we get to choose our values. We get to choose what we care about. In our society, we haven't come across step-by-step lists that tell us how to achieve happiness. Here's just one example. Dr. Oz's 4 steps to get happy now. Eat foods rich in vitamin B, develop self-awareness, wake up with a smile, and take a stroll outdoors. Now, I don't think Dr. Oz is wrong. We should definitely strive to develop self-awareness, maintain a positive attitude, and eat leafy greens. But I believe that at the very core of happiness, at the very heart of happiness, is something much more fundamental than any step-by-step list. I endorse Gandhi's definition of happiness. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Class of 2012, choosing what we care about is important, but it's not enough. My challenge for all of us is not only to choose our values thoughtfully, but also to live in a way commensurate with our values. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Roncalli has taught us to value service, but that means nothing unless we actually go out and serve others. If we think, speak, and act in accordance with our loving values, then we can achieve happiness. And I'm not here to say it's easy, because it's not. Living our lives according to our values might be one of the most difficult things we have to do. But it's possible. And in fact, it's our responsibility. What are we going to do with our consciousness? We can't keep our values inside our heads. We must live our values. I think that my fear of not reaching my full potential is a rational fear. Because when we make any decision, there's always an opportunity cost. Let's talk economics. The opportunity cost of a decision is defined as the most desirable alternative. Let's say that I go home one day and think to myself, should I start working on my AP Lit homework or should I take a nap? And this is not a hypothetical situation. I experience this type of crisis every day. Typically, I decide to take a nap and put my homework on hold because, let's be honest, I never get my full 8 hours of sleep. When I decided to take a nap, the opportunity cost, the most desirable alternative, was starting my homework. But I decided to take a nap instead. Shame on me. In every decision we make, there's an opportunity cost. Whenever we choose to do one thing, we're choosing not to do something else. It's easy to make choices automatically, without considering the cost. All too often, we think, speak, and act without considering our values. Pretend now that you're an adult. Adults in the audience, just pretend that you're yourself. And it's a beautiful Saturday morning. You walk outside and you notice the deplorable state of your lawn. Naturally, you spend hours that day, mowing and watering the lawn, trimming the hedges, and uprooting every last dandelion. Now your lawn looks pristine, but think of the opportunity cost. Think of what you could have done with the time, the labor, the water, and the money you just spent on your lawn. Shame on you. Really, there's nothing wrong with taking naps or sustaining a nice lawn. It's important to rest every once in a while and to maintain a good-looking living space. But that's not how we live our values. Decades from now, when we look back on our lives, we don't want to think to ourselves, man, I took some great naps and my lawn looked awesome. No, life is so much more than that. We want to remember the incredible things we accomplished with our consciousness. We want to look back and think, I thought, spoke, and acted according to my values, and I'm happy. But of course, living according to our values is hard. Society isn't going to help us do it. Society wants us to do what everybody else is doing. Society wants us to conform. But when we think about great historical figures, we don't think about the conformists. We think about the reformers. Jesus, Madison, Lincoln, Gandhi, King, Pope John the 23rd, all reformers, all people who lived their values. Perhaps our greatest examples of people who know what they care about and live what they care about aren't in history books. They're here with us this morning. Our parents, priests, administrators, and teachers. Our teachers aren't in it for power and prestige, and they're certainly not in it to accumulate wealth. Our teachers are here today because they care about students and education, and they're living their values, big time. My greatest role models are here with us today, and I'm so grateful to have spent the last 4 years with them. And finally, class of 2012, my friends, my fellow graduates, I want to thank each and every one of you for playing such an integral part of my high school years. Today is a turning point in our lives. As we exit this stadium to 18 rousing verses of Canticum, we enter into a completely new phase in our lives. We don't have to fear not reaching our full potential, because we can reach our full potential. Roncalli High School has laid down the foundation of the values we hold close to our hearts: service, peacefulness, humility, love. Now we have a responsibility to take those values and make them shine, make them radiate in everything we think, speak, and do. And if we do that, if we truly live our values, when we look back on our lives and ask ourselves, what did I do with my consciousness? We'll be able to say, I thought, spoke, and acted according to my values, and I'm happy. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2012.
My boy.